Right now at 5, authorities arrest a former Carl Junction teacher for a child sex crime.
And we've got ourselves a warm and windy day across the area. We're going to take a look at that forecast, talk about some rain chances and the Arctic air coming up.
Well, plus you might pay more for a lot of credit card purchases in Kansas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It's Friday. It is
Yes.
January the 17th, and I should know this because today is 8 years I've been at this television station.
Congratulations, Chris.
Thank you. Some way, somehow, I've managed to survive, and it's I'm just grateful to the folks at home
Yes.
who watch every day. And oh boy, 8 years! It's crazy
Long
at the
time.
time.
Accomplished so much.
It goes by so fast. Next thing I know, it's going to be 28 years, and at least hopefully, as long as you guys will have me, I'll be sticking around as long as I can, and I'll be telling you about who knows what. But I can tell you today, it's going to be warm. It's going to be very windy, and it's going to get very cold. That's been pretty steady, unfortunately. Let's start with the look outside, though. We're going to go to downtown Pittsburgh. And you can see we're looking okay. Actually went out this morning, and I decided I don't need a jacket. I mean, it was chilly. The wind's a little on the cold side, but I said I'm not going to put on a coat because I know I'm not going to need it this afternoon. I'd like just one random day in January where I don't have to worry about it. So that's what I did. That's what you should do as well. Looking good all right there. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin. Also looking pretty good so far this morning. KDOT camera just south of Pittsburgh also. We're doing okay. Now, of course, eventually it's going to have some rain here and there. In fact, speaking of that rain, so here's what we're looking at on the future track by noon. We'll have the chance for isolated to widely scattered showers, as we mentioned yesterday, all across the region. Better chances for rain will be a little later this afternoon along and south of I-44. But again, any of us could see a stray shower out there. It's just the slightly higher odds of seeing a shower are going to be along and south of I-44. We're also going to have those south winds really ripping out there. And then eventually, here comes that frontal boundary. And as it starts to push through, temperatures begin to drop pretty quickly back behind it later this evening. It should start working its way in a little after 4 o'clock this afternoon. We're at 45 in Joplin, 39 in Pittsburgh, and temperatures across the area. Not bad. We're a little warmer than yesterday. We've got a lot more upper 30s. We've got low 40s. We've even got mid 40s in some areas in January. And again, not that we're going to complain necessarily, and we shouldn't because it's about to get very cold. Kids get on the bus this morning, clear skies, south winds gusting to 25, low 40s, upper 30s out there. And when the kids come home, that mix of isolated showers, otherwise it is cloudy, it is windy, it is warm, but these south winds now gusting upwards of 40 miles an hour as we reach about the low to mid 50s. And that's where our highs are headed, right about the mid, maybe even upper 50s. And as we roll into the afternoons, we're going to see those opportunities for a few isolated to widely scattered showers. Those showers continue through, say, about 10, 11 o'clock tonight, and then they are out of here as temperatures drop. We'll talk about what happens when those temperatures drop and just how cold it's going to get here in just a few more minutes. Lise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, Nevada, Missouri man is dead after a car crash Wednesday night. It happened on Interstate 49 south of Lamar. Investigators say the 52-year-old man was driving south when his car hit the rear of a van. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. The van driver, a California man, had only moderate injuries. A 3-vehicle crash near Carl Junction caused traffic delays. This was around 7:30 yesterday morning south of Center Creek access on County Road 290. A car crossed the center line, hitting an oncoming pickup truck. The truck then spun around and hit an SUV. No one was seriously hurt. A former Carl Junction school teacher is under arrest for a child sex crime. In a news release last night, the police chief says authorities have arrested former Carl Junction teacher Craig S. Smith on charges of possessing child pornography and stalking. Police say forensic analysis led to the discovery of numerous images of child pornography on Smith's school-issued electronic devices. At last report yesterday evening, Smith was in custody and charges were under review by the Jasper County Prosecutor's Office. In the release, CJ Police Chief Mark McCall says, quote, the stalking charge is based on a pattern of concerning behavior directed toward a minor student over the last several years. The chief notes the department has not released any images of the minor victim. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, some Missouri legislators want to change the laws pertaining to missing persons and DNA testing. A bill would require information on all missing persons to be entered into a database known as NamUs. NamUs stores identifiers such as DNA, dental records, and fingerprints. For law enforcement, identifying DNA could go a long way in solving cold cases.
You obviously want to get a name or an identification and start from there. And so these are death investigations that we're investigating. We don't have the cause of death. If we're able to identify these remains, that's a huge piece of the puzzle that allows us to start that secondary investigation to find out what happened.
There is a bipartisanship support for the legislation in the Show Me state. And an updated Kansas law could affect the way you spend when using a credit card. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more on how this law can impact Kansas shoppers.
As of January 1st, Kansas businesses are legally allowed to add a surcharge for credit card transactions. James Redd, owner of Redd's House Barbecue in Columbus, says as a business owner, he can see how the surcharge can financially benefit business owners.
If we could pass the savings on, we try to, but at the end of the day, we want to make a little bit of money.
But as a consumer,
See, my philosophy is that I'm a consumer first, business owner second.
if there's a surcharge, he might give extra thought about what he really wants before spending.
What would I really want to pay? But then most people, they'll pay for whatever they want if it's worth it.
And as for the owner of Redd's House Barbecue, he doesn't have any plans to start adding a surcharge for people paying with credit cards.
I think when people work hard for something, they want to come out and to indulge. I don't think they're already going to pay a premium price, but I don't think you should try to nickel and dime it per se.
He says he tries to keep prices to margin, and he wouldn't want to add a surcharge that could potentially be strenuous for people in the community to afford.
I know you're supposed to pinch pennies and you're supposed to budget this and budget that, but I don't know, I'm just a community person.
Kansas had a no surcharge statute from 1986 until 2021. That's when it was declared unconstitutional, and it was appealed. This updated law requires that businesses alert customers about the surcharge before the sale is made, and 4% is the maximum surcharge allowed. And as for Redd, as a new business owner, he says his main focus is on the community.
I think that's the lifeline of every small business, just togetherness, family, community.
Reporting in Columbus, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Surcharges for debit cards purchases are still illegal in Kansas and all 50 states. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Missouri Southern basketball hosts Central Oklahoma. We'll have the details. Plus, a 119-year-old Brazilian woman hopes to claim the title of the world's oldest living woman. And we have a warm and windy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Well, Lebec County High School has produced several standout athletes over the years. Yesterday, school record holder in the 300-meter hurdles signs to continue her academic and athletic career at Missouri Southern. Lebec County High School seniors Landry O'Brien signing to officially commit to Missouri Southern track and field. O'Brien is a multi-sport athlete for the Grizzlies and actually began her high school career at Oklahoma Union. The future Lion looks back fondly on her time at Lebec County.
I love the switch. Oklahoma Union was a great school, but it was really small, and I loved going to a bigger school, which Lebec's not huge, but it is a 4A compared to a 2A, and I loved the coaches. The coaches were great. Volmer has been great. I've just improved so much in all my sports and as a person and academically. I loved Lebec a lot. It was a good switch.
Carl Junction has a new leader for its softball program, and it's a name that might be familiar to the Bulldog faithful. Carl Junction High School announced yesterday Mandy Bauer is the new head coach of the Lady Bulldog softball team. Bauer is a 1997 graduate of CJ and served as interim head coach of the softball team this past season. In a press release, Bauer says, quote, "There are exciting changes ahead that'll make being part of the Carl Junction softball team a rewarding experience for our athletes." CJ plans to open its new softball stadium for the 2025 fall season. Missouri Southern men's and women's basketball were back in Joplin last night, both teams coming off a loss last time out. Missouri Southern hosting Central Oklahoma, Lions looking to avenge their loss from over the weekend. In the first quarter, Mackenzie Hart gets things started. She steps back and knocks down the triple. Lions lead by 5. A little later in the half, Southern is getting some good minutes from their local product, Grace Frazier. She gets the layup to go down. Next possession, Grace Frazier attacks the rim for another 2 points. The freshman from Diamond wasn't done there. We go to the second half. Frazier finds McKenna Yoakley. She gets the easy basket as Missouri Southern starts to pull away. A little later on, Grace Frazier is going to pull up from 3 off the dribble, and she connects. Frazier scored a career-high 12 points for the Lions yesterday evening. Going to the fourth quarter, Mackenzie Hart creates some space in the lane to score again. She led the team with 14 points last night. Missouri Southern bounces back. Lions beat the Broncos 68-52.
The effort was so good, and we just kind of fed off each other as far as our energy and our effort, especially on the defensive end. And then offensively, I thought we did some positive things. Shot the ball fairly well, didn't shoot it well from the 3, but we got to the basket a lot and created some second, third opportunities by picking up loose balls. We got a lot of the 50-50 balls, which in a basketball game, those are huge.
Missouri Southern men take the floor last night. Lions facing a talented Central Oklahoma team. Early in the first half, Martin Macinas makes a really tough shot on the run. That gives the Lions a 1-point lead. A few minutes later, Southern starts to attack the basket. Get a nice pass from Tyreek Brooks to Tyrone Wright. Finishes the jam. Next Lions possession, Eric Jackson is going to fire away a 3-ball and bury it. That puts Missouri Southern up by 4. UCO has to call a timeout. The Lions offense continues to show out in the first half. Tyrone Wright elevates for his second dunk of the night. That fires up the crowd. Then Wright hangs around the paint. It goes up and under to add his point total. Tyrone Wright finished with 14 points last night. Missouri Southern goes on to get a much-needed conference win. Lions beat UCO 77-71. Still to come, a new study reveals that fewer people say they're enjoying the food they eat. Plus, we'll talk about the rain and the much colder weather on the way when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:17 coming up on 5:18 on this Friday morning. We've made it almost to the weekend. Unfortunately, again, unless you're a big fan of the really cold weather, the weekend not looking too great. Hopefully you got to enjoy some time outside yesterday, and maybe you can get some time in outside today. We're going to start with the future track as we usually do, unless there's something crazy happening. Thankfully, at least right now, there's not anything too crazy happening. We're going to see clouds increasing through the morning. Be mostly cloudy, just straight up cloudy by noon. Could see an isolated shower or two anywhere in the area. That's what the future track is kind of highlighting. But remember what we've talked about when we get into these really broad green bands out here, sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be raining in these locations. It's indicating rain will be possible in these locations because our rain chances are not all that fantastic today. But they are there, and so we could get a stray shower here or there. The big thing is going to be those gusty winds out of the south, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Better chances for slightly more organized rainfall later this afternoon into the early evening, primarily along and south of I-44. But again, like I mentioned, an isolated shower outside of that zone, absolutely possible. It's just the slightly better chances are down south. On to the evening. Now about 4 o'clock, cold front starts rolling in. It's just outside of Yates Center. By 6, can see that wind shift line right here from Coffeyville, Parsons, outside of Pittsburgh, Fort Scott, Nevada. And the winds are going to be shifting behind it. Now, the thing is the winds are going to remain gusty. They're just going to switch directions overnight and be out of the north. And temperatures are going to drop to not terrible levels, but less than pleasant levels. And we'll actually see temporarily brief clearing. We go partly cloudy overnight. As we go into Saturday, we're going to start into the 20s. And again, we're still looking at, I think, a very likely scenario of high temperatures, especially those in the 30s at 5 a.m., probably being reached at about 3, 4, 5 a.m. The temperatures are going to fall back into the 20s, and because of the clouds and the wind, we're just going to hover there. We're really going to spend most of tomorrow in the 20s with a very gusty north wind. Now, the future track is showing snow. Now, it also is showing what looks like a lot of it. I'm going to tell you right now, I think overall the chances of snow are very low, but I do believe, similar to what we're expecting with the rain today, we could have some flurries, maybe a couple of light snow showers. We're not expecting anything significant or long-lasting as we head into our Saturday. We go overnight, skies will eventually start to clear out. We'll have sunny skies for Sunday. Not that it makes a difference. Look at how we're starting our day Sunday morning, falling back into the teens. I have a few clouds here and there. Otherwise, not a bad day Sunday. It's just going to still be bitterly cold. Let's take a quick look at temperatures because we're just about out of time here. We've got upper 30s and low to mid 40s this morning. So again, a little warmer than where we were yesterday. Low 40s to start our day. Clouds increasing through the morning. Low 50s by 11 o'clock. We're looking right around the mid to upper 50s for our highs today. We'll have those shower chances, but the big thing is those south winds gusting upwards of 40 miles an hour. We'll eventually be partly cloudy overnight. Rain chances will wrap up about 10, 11 o'clock. Back down into the 20s. North winds gusting up to 30. North winds continuing to gust up to 30 through our Saturday. Cold out there. 20s Sunday and Monday. Single digits Sunday night possible, maybe a wintry mix next Thursday. We're not looking at getting close to average again until next weekend. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning, both healthy eating and food satisfaction are on the decline. Now, that's according to a study published Tuesday by Gallup. Researchers collected data from people in over 140 countries last year. They asked them several questions about the food they ate, including how healthy they think it is and how much they enjoy it. 81% said they enjoy their food, and that was down from 87% the year before. About 75% said they ate mostly healthy food, a drop from 82% the year before. Those who reported eating healthy dropped even lower in the United States. 71% said they ate mostly healthy food in 2023 compared to 83% the year before. Well, most of the current U.S. workforce has a highly sedentary job, and a new study has found workers with sedentary jobs are having a difficult time sleeping. Researchers analyzed data from more than 1,000 workers over 10 years. They examine how job design impacts employee sleep patterns, and job design includes the amount of technology used at work, physical activity, work schedules, and the time of day when employees work. They found participants whose jobs were sedentary, which included a lot of white-collar employees, face a significantly higher risk of insomnia. Many experienced short sleep cycles and higher levels of daytime fatigue. If that sounds like you, taking short breaks with quick bouts of physical activity could help you feel more tired at bedtime. Alarming new data released today by the American Cancer Society reveals young women are almost twice as likely to be diagnosed with cancer as young men. It appears breast and thyroid cancers in women are driving this trend. Mandy Gaither looks at the research and has more on what everyone, especially young adults, should know about their cancer risk.
First, the good news. The American Cancer Society says fewer people are dying of cancer in the U.S., but now the bad news. New data released today shows an estimated 2 million Americans will be diagnosed with cancer this year. That's one person every 15 seconds.
That demonstrates that the number of diagnoses are going up and the nature of who's being diagnosed is changing as well.
Dr. Arif Kamal says for decades, men were more likely than women to get cancer, but now that's changing, especially for young adults and younger women in particular. The report says women under 50 now have an 82% higher cancer incidence rate than their male counterparts.
It does sound the alarm that patients, everybody, should be paying attention to the look and feel of their body and sharing with their doctors if anything seems off.
While age is still a leading risk factor for cancer, Kamal says it's clear younger people aren't immune to the risks, but can do something about it. First, get the HPV vaccine to protect against future cancers. The CDC recommends children receive it between the ages of 11 and 12, but can be given as early as age 9 and as late as age 26. Next, get annual screenings. Cancer is more treatable the earlier it's detected. Finally, know your cancer risk and family history and advocate for yourself. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, Dr. Kamal says another key to changing the trend of rising cancer diagnoses is making sure you live a healthy lifestyle. Things like obesity, smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, and being sedentary all can add to a person's cancer risk. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We are chilly and a bit breezy to start our Friday. We'll have another look at your forecast and talk about some rain chances and colder weather on the way when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, the city of Joplin invites the community to weigh in on the future of public transportation.
And we got a chilly and breezy start to the day. It's going to be warmer, it's going to be windier, and then it's going to get colder. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door. Come on.
Plus, a local utility company offers assistance programs during the winter months.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It's finally Friday here in the 4 states. Weekend is coming up. Unfortunately, It's going to be a very cold weekend, but we've had some decent days leading up. Hopefully,
yes, we sure have.
Had an opportunity to get some stuff done. I didn't do anything.
I mean, when it's like nice out like it is in January, I just went outside and enjoyed that. That's all you really have to do.
That's it. And really, honestly, unless it's something urgent, you're right, because we'll have the springtime eventually. You'll have plenty of days that'll be warm and nice to start catching up. Sometimes it's nice to get a break from the cold. But that break from the cold ends today. Let's start with a look outside our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. We're looking fairly good. Again, we got clear skies for now, but clouds will begin to increase as we head through the morning. Winds will continue to increase as well. They're already kind of gusty. We've been watching our camera in Pittsburgh shake around a little bit in those gusts, but they're going to pick up even more so as we head into the afternoon out there. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline. Looking pretty good as well. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 East 520th Avenue. Of course, that's just south of Pittsburgh. Most of the snow, just about all of it, is gone. But I just saw a post from I think it was KWCH in Wichita, where they've had 2 inches of snow still on the ground for 12 days straight now at this point, something along those lines, where it hasn't melted yet, it just won't go away. And that's kind of how it feels sometimes. You get that cold weather that continues and snow just doesn't want to go away. But it is progressively doing so. Just in time for us to see some showers. These will be isolated to widely scattered showers. So not everybody out here is going to see rain, but in these zones, which is everywhere, we have at least a slight chance of a shower or two. Better chances, only slightly better, along and south of I-44. And by 8, take a look. Here's that cold front. Here's that cold air. It's going to start rolling into our area as early as 4 o'clock this afternoon. But not yet. 45 in Joplin, 39 in Pittsburgh. So we're all a little warmer than where we were yesterday at this time. We've got upper 30s, and then we got the low to mid 40s across the area. And those south winds already out there gusting upwards of about 20 to 25 miles an hour. So it does make it feel a little cooler. Kids getting on the bus, clear skies, upper 30s, low 40s. Bus brings them home. Isolated showers, otherwise cloudy. low to mid 50s, and now those south winds, this is the bigger concern here, is take a look at that. Those south winds now gusting to 40. That's going to be the concern. And then when the cold front moves through, it's still going to be breezy just out of the north. They're going to make it feel much colder today. Clouds increasing again, mid upper 50s, maybe even some low 60s in our southern counties. We'll have a few of those isolated shower chances. We're going to talk about just how cold it's going to get and how long that lasts here in just a few more minutes. Lisa.
All right, Chris, thanks. And as winter temps stick around, your utility bill could see a spike. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, natural gas usage is up compared to this time last year. Demand exceeds supply, putting some pressure on prices. Local utility provider Spire wants you to be aware of assistance programs available to people in Southwest Missouri.
They can take advantage of what they call ESIP. It's the Energy Crisis Intervention Program. And this helps the customer who have that unexpected or controllable loss of financial resources. And what happens in the winter months, which we're in now, from November to May, they can receive up to a maximum of $800.
Now, for those in need of assistance, you can call 211 to find out what programs are available for you. The Joplin Area Transportation Study Organization, also known as JATSO, held a policy board public meeting yesterday at Joplin City Hall. They discussed several strategies and ongoing projects aimed at improving the city's transportation systems, including pavement and bridge improvements. One of the most significant points of focus was how to better engage the community in the decision making.
What we're going to try to do is we will be doing Teams meetings so that if someone can't come to the public meeting, they can log on to Teams and they'll be able to view the presentations, they can submit questions, and then there'll be sections designated that we stop and we take some of the questions that we receive from the online participants and answer those so that they'll be able to get real-time information through the process.
If you happen to miss a public meeting, you can always check the Joplin City Hall website for information. And some kiddos at Mark Twain Elementary in Carthage dove into a good read yesterday thanks to the help from the high school swim team. Members of the Lady Tiger swim team took some time to read to the kindergartners and just provide some general mentoring.
I picked out the Pout Pout Fish book just because that was a book I remembered from whenever I was little, and also it just kind of related because we're swimmers and he's a little fish, and then he's all upset, and then one day his new friend comes and then he gets happy. So I just thought that was kind of a cute book to choose.
My name's Riley. I went to school.
10 swimmers from the Lady Tiger swim team made the trip. The Miami Public Library invited the public out to celebrate literacy and American icon Dolly Parton yesterday afternoon. The Dolly Party kicked off a month-long celebration of the beloved country singer and her contributions to children's literacy. Storytellers were on hand, as well as a variety of games, songs, and plenty of snacks with fellow book lovers.
Very excited. It's my first time. The Dolly Parton Imagination Library is a big part of Ottawa County, so we like to celebrate this amazing program and share it with all the families in Ottawa County.
Since 1995, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library has donated more than 200 million books to promote children's literacy. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Fiery debris rains down after a SpaceX Starship explodes shortly after launching. Plus, the Middle East ceasefire is now in jeopardy. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Well, topping World Watch, a 119-year-old Brazilian woman is hoping to become the Guinness World Record's oldest living woman. Deloria Blasiera Pedro da Silva's birth certificate states she was born on March 10, 1905. She is cared for by her family at her home in Rio de Janeiro. Her physician says she is in sound health and she maintains good sleep patterns and cognitive function and does not require any medication. But she is immobile due to lack of muscular strength. Now, her granddaughter says she hopes to live to her age. A 119-year-old Brazilian nun, Ina Canabaro Lucas, has been recognized as the world's oldest living person by Long Quest, an organization that tracks global supercentenarians. Well, a SpaceX rocket explodes shortly after launching, causing a light show across the sky. The Starship rocket broke apart Thursday during its 7th test flight. The spacecraft's 6 engines shut down one by one, and SpaceX owner Elon Musk says the spacecraft went into, quote, rapid unscheduled disassembly. Parts of the spacecraft streaked across the skies on the island of Turks and Caicos, leaving behind a colorful stream of smoke. The spacecraft was attempting a near loop around the world. Fortunately, the booster made a great return drop into the landing tower's devices. And trouble for the Middle East ceasefire agreement. Israel's prime minister says a last-minute dispute with Hamas is holding up approval by his cabinet. Trey Yingst has more.
We went to bed with a hostage deal and woke up with a statement from the prime minister saying there's no agreement. The Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu accusing Hamas of going back on parts of the deal in order to get last-minute concessions. Hamas denied changing their position, and as the day progressed, we learned more about what's going on behind the scenes. Israeli media reports there were key disagreements still over the specific hostages and prisoners set to be released, though Netanyahu is also dealing with internal political backlash, with his national security minister Itamar Ben-Gvir threatening to resign if the deal moves forward. This would nearly collapse Netanyahu's coalition government, giving him just a one-seat majority in the Israeli parliament.
The willingness to pay heavy prices for the release of hostages also exists with us. We are ready to do anything that will lead to their release, provided that the price does not include a much heavier price of what happened on the 7th of October.
Amid a dramatic turn of events in the negotiations, Israel is continuing airstrikes against Gaza. Reports indicate dozens of Palestinians have been killed over the past 24 hours in different airstrikes. Civilians in Gaza City tell Fox News there is a mixture of emotions as the war ramps up again ahead of an expected deal. If Israel and Hamas can refinalize an agreement tonight, we do expect hostages to be released from Gaza on Sunday or Monday.
And that's a look at World Watch. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's about to be 5:45 on this finally Friday here in the 4 states. And starting with the future track, now as we head through the day and into the afternoon, we could have an isolated shower really anywhere across the region, but there will be slightly better chances for shower activity along and to the south of the I-44 corridor. But again, anyone could see a shower. That's what the future track is picking up on. We've had these discussions too, where sometimes it's not saying rain everywhere, it's saying in these zones, rain is possible. And so that's what we're looking at. Rain, we could get a shower just about anywhere, but I think better chances, or at least slightly better chances, along and south of I-44. Outside of that, it's going to be much warmer today, even compared to yesterday. It's going to be very windy out there as well. By 4, that cold front starts rolling in, and you can kind of see right here where that wind shift line is just starting to take place around Yates Center by 4. So as we head through the evening, it continues to push through. It could generate a few additional showers, maybe a rumble of thunder in that corridor along and south of I-44 as it gets a little closer. And temperatures will begin to fall behind that. And as it moves on through, by about 10, 11 o'clock tonight, any shower activity that is out there is done. It is gone. We'll even have a little bit of clearing tonight. We'll go partly cloudy overnight, but it's going to still be cold. It's still going to be very windy still as well. Just the winds are now out of the north instead of out of the south. And I think we're still looking at that situation where a number of communities are going to hit highs for Saturday at somewhere between, say, 3 and 5 a.m. Because then as the clouds thicken up and those winds continue out of the north, we're going to fall back for a lot of locations back into the 20s. We're just going to kind of hover there through the day. Now, the future track is also picking up on what looks like a bunch of snow. I do not think that's going to necessarily be the case, but because it's going to be cold, there could be some leftover moisture. We could see a couple of stray flurries, maybe a light snow shower, but nothing significant is expected at this point as we head through Saturday. Skies will clear late Saturday into Sunday, and we start very cold out there into the teens. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds throughout the day on Sunday and still well below normal. Right now, though, we're not below normal in most locations. We're at 45 in Joplin. Does feel like 38. South-southwest breeze at 15, gusting to 26. And again, these winds are going to increase as we head through the morning hours. Around the region, we've got upper 30s and even low to mid 40s. So warmer than yesterday, not significantly warmer, but certainly warmer than where we were. So through the morning, again, south winds gusting 25, maybe 30 miles an hour. They start to increase by late morning as the clouds increase. They're going to be gusting upwards of almost 40 miles an hour. So that's something you need to keep in mind. Clouds increase as well, low 40s to start, low 50s by 11 a.m. And as we head into the afternoon, again, cloudy skies, some isolated showers, highs today mid-upper 50s, and in those south winds gusting to 40. Partly cloudy overnight as the rain comes to an end, back down into the 20s, and we'll be seeing those north winds gusting upwards of 30. Gusting north winds will continue into Saturday. Again, maybe a stray flurry or two. Colder Sunday, Monday in the 20s, single digits Sunday night into Monday. Could see a little wintry mix next Thursday, and we should be closer to normal by next weekend. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
The LA fires have delayed nomination announcements for several Hollywood award shows. One group has announced its nominations. Of course, it's based more than 5,000 miles away. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
No sane man would want the papacy. The men who are dangerous are the ones who do want it.
Conclave leads the nominations for this year's BAFTA Film Awards. The Vatican thriller has earned 12 nominations, just ahead of Emilia Perez, which received 11 nods. The Brutalist picked up 9 nominations. All 3 are up for the top prize, Best Film. The BAFTA Film Awards are set for February 16th in London.
What will be the funny story that I'll tell about this later? And that helps me get through the now.
Comedians are helping their colleagues get through the now of the LA wildfires. A Comedy Gives Back show will benefit comedians affected by the fires. Patton Oswalt, Zach Galifianakis, Bob Odenkirk, and Brian Posehn lead the lineup of the benefit January 31st in Los Angeles. More info and resources for comedians at comedygivesback.com. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
A little woman who was pulled out to sea is saved by an Olympic medal-winning kite surfer who just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Watch an Olympic kite surfer's practice run turn into a very real life-saving rescue at sea. Brazilian Olympian Bruno Lobo says he was making a run to test out a new camera off the coast of Maranhão when he says he heard a cry for help and spotted a woman in the water. He directed his craft to her and found her exhausted and struggling. Lobo, who competed in the Paris Games and who is also an orthopedic surgeon, put the ailing woman on his back and made his way to shore where lifeguards were waiting to come to her aid. Lobo later posted the video to social media highlighting the dangers of strong currents while swimming in unfamiliar waters. He was also awarded a medal for his heroism by the governor of Maranhão. Another maritime rescue, this one by more readily prepared heroes who made their way to a couple that had been marooned in chilly waters off Florida's coast when they say they were hit by an unexpected wave during a turn, which caused their small John boat to capsize. The pair was pulled to safety, no worse for wear, but seemingly a little wiser.
I'm never going on a little boat ever again in my life.
Finally, in California, the U.S. Forest Service shared vids and images from a most unexpected mountain rescue of a most unexpected climber. Rangers say they came across this lone goose that had found its way to 10,000 feet of elevation on snowy Mount Shasta. They believe the bird made its way to the impressive height through a combo of webbed feet and flight and gave the unprepared adventurer a smooth ride back down the mountain before taking it to a local pond at a more suitable elevation. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, some incredible rescue missions there. Stick around. We'll be right back. Well, 2024 was the year of music with streams hitting the trillions, and women led the movement. A 2024 year-end report by Luminance says the global music industry tallied 4.8 trillion streams. That is a new single-year record and a 14% jump from 2023. In the U.S. alone, on-demand audio streams totaled 1.4 trillion. Female pop stars like Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, Sabrina Carpenter, and Chappell Roan led the way, garnering more than 20 billion streams in the U.S. And an elderly couple in California celebrate their 82nd wedding anniversary the Disney way. The lovely couple dressed up as Cinderella and her Prince Charming for this special occasion. Elton and Betty Denner have been married since 1942 before Elton had to leave to service on for World War II. After living together for 8 decades and raising their family, it was their kids and grandchildren that organized the 4-day Disney-themed surprise for the pair to celebrate as they can no longer attend the park. Elton and Betty say the key for a loving relationship is patience.
Certainly so, and it takes a lot of patience to get through a lot of things in life, for sure. And it looks like they're doing things the right way, and we got to have a little bit of patience in order to get through the chilly weather. We're still in January. We haven't even made it to February yet, and March, you know, it can snow as late as April here in the 4 states. Hopefully it's not the case. I'm ready for spring, but we'll get there one day at a time. For today, though, clear skies to start, mostly cloudy by 11, low 40s to start, low 50s by 11. It'll be a little warmer today, a lot windier. South winds gusting upwards of 40, and we'll have clouds increase, and then we're looking at that possibility of some isolated to widely scattered showers. Highs right around the mid 50s, maybe even some upper 50s and possibly low 60s in our southern counties. Now, the cold front with the Arctic air starts arriving about 4, so depending on where you are in relation to that front, your temperatures may be a little lower than this at these different times. Showers should start wrapping up though by 10, 11 o'clock. There's not going to be a lot of them, but there will be a couple. And north winds tonight gusting to 30, partly cloudy back into the mid 20s. North winds still gusting tomorrow, maybe a stray flurry or two. Colder weather below normal through at least next weekend. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more after this.